Modern N concerns environmental pollution. Modern society is facing a serious issue of environmental pollution. The pollution of air, water, and soil directly affects human health and ecological balance, and this has become an urgent challenge for modern society in creating a sustainable future. In particular, is recognized as one of the countries vulnerable to environmental pollution due to rapid industrialization and urbanization. The deterioration of air quality, caused by fine dust and ultrafine dust, is increasing the incidence of respiratory diseases among the population, while water pollution is destroying river and marine ecosystems. These problems are expanding beyond environmental issues to become matters of quality of life and social safety nets. Environmental pollution raises various concerns in modern society. The adverse environmental effects caused by the pursuit of industrialization and economic growth impact not only the current generation but also future generations. While society has implemented various policies to address these issues, further improvement is still needed. For example, policies aimed at responding to fine dust have shown some effectiveness, but these effects are temporary, and fundamental solutions are required. Additionally, waste management problems are closely related to daily lifestyles and consumption culture, requiring joint efforts from individuals and government policies. These concerns instill a sense of responsibility for environmental protection and awareness of the need to pursue sustainable living among modern NS. These problems are not merely physical issues but also hold significant meaning on ethical and religious levels. The Bible provides deep wisdom on how humans should manage their relationship with nature. Deuteronomy emphasizes the impact of human actions on nature and society and highlights the responsibility for one's actions. This underscores the necessity for individuals and communities to recognize their responsibility in environmental protection. Meanwhile, 1 John emphasizes the importance of love and solidarity, suggesting that compassion for neighbors and nature is a true expression of love. These religious teachings can provide valuable insights for modern society in addressing environmental issues. In the following sections, this article will propose practical solutions for environmental pollution based on the teachings of Deuteronomy and 1 John. The teachings of Deuteronomy and the importance of environmental protection. Deuteronomy emphasizes the impact of human actions on nature and society and highlights the responsibility for one's actions. This offers essential wisdom applicable to today's environmental pollution issues. Deuteronomy 12 records the incident where Miriam criticized Moses, negatively affecting the faith community, and she was disciplined as a result. This event illustrates the ripple effects of a single word on a community and reminds people that individual actions can threaten the stability and health of the community. Similarly, protecting nature follows this principle. Individual consumption patterns, energy usage, and waste disposal all affect the environment and are closely tied to the quality of life for the entire community. Therefore, based on the teachings of Deuteronomy, modern individuals should recognize the impact of their actions on the environment and act with a sense of responsibility toward environmental protection. Another lesson from Deuteronomy is the necessity of solidarity and cooperation within the community. The Israelites' survival in the wilderness, relying on mutual cooperation and sacrifices for a common goal, provides significant implications for modern environmental protection. Environmental pollution is not an issue that can be overcome solely through individual efforts. It requires cooperation and improved awareness across society. Governments, businesses, and individuals must work together to develop and implement sustainable environmental policies. For example, comprehensive fine dust response plan cannot succeed without the cooperation of the government, local authorities, businesses, and citizens. The teachings of Deuteronomy emphasize this need for cooperation, conveying the message that individuals and communities must join hands to protect the environment. Moreover, the lessons from Deuteronomy can be applied to the formulation of environmental policies. Deuteronomy teaches that the Israelites should respect nature and live in harmony with it. This reminds modern society that when designing environmental policies, it is crucial to maintain a balance between nature and human society. For instance, policies to expand renewable energy are not only for environmental protection but also essential for a sustainable future. The teachings of Deuteronomy suggest that such policies should not be decided solely for economic or political purposes but should be fundamental efforts to maintain harmony between nature and humanity. Therefore, governments and businesses should design environmental policies based on the wisdom of Deuteronomy, focusing on respecting and protecting nature. These teachings from Deuteronomy can also be applied to individual daily lifestyles. Deuteronomy conveys the lesson of valuing the relationship with nature, which can translate into practical efforts for environmental protection in the lives of modern individuals. For example, reducing the use of disposable products, saving energy, and practicing proper waste sorting are small actions individuals can take, but they contribute to the overall protection of the environment for the community. The teachings of Deuteronomy remind us that these individual contributions can significantly impact the entire community. Thus, individuals should recognize the impact of their actions on the environment and choose sustainable lifestyles accordingly. The wisdom of 1 John and the practice of environmental protection. 1 John emphasizes the practice of human love, which can guide practical actions for environmental protection. 1 John 3:16-18 explains how Christians should love their neighbors, emphasizing that genuine love requires concrete actions rather than merely verbal expressions. Similarly, environmental protection is not just about improving awareness but also involves concrete actions to protect nature. For example, reducing the use of single-use plastics, practicing recycling, and adopting energy-efficient lifestyles are all practical expressions of love. The teachings of 1 John remind us that environmental protection is not only an individual duty but also an expression of love that includes neighbors and communities. 1 John 4:12 states that love is not merely words or spiritual experiences but must be extended to actions toward neighbors. This teaching can also be applied in the context of environmental protection, emphasizing that respecting and protecting all forms of life, including nature, is a true expression of love. Modern society is at a critical stage where community efforts to address environmental pollution are necessary, and the wisdom of 1 John reminds individuals and society to collaborate in protecting nature. For instance, participating in local environmental cleanup activities or volunteering for environmental conservation can be seen as expressions of love for neighbors, contributing to the community's environmental protection. The teachings of 1 John emphasize that such practices are not mere obligations but natural expressions of love, which can serve as strong motivation for environmental protection. Additionally, 1 John underscores the need for specific and practical expressions of love, which can provide insights for the formulation of environmental protection policies. Rather than merely emphasizing the importance of environmental protection, governments and businesses should establish and implement sustainable policies. For example, while U.S. government is promoting the comprehensive fine dust response plan, the success of this policy relies not only on its design but also on cooperation from citizens and businesses. The teachings of 1 John emphasize that such policies should not be formalistic but contribute genuinely to protecting nature and improving human lives. Based on this, governments and businesses should recognize the need for creative approaches that maintain harmony between nature and humanity when designing environmental protection policies, rather than merely imposing regulations. Furthermore, 1 John states that the practice of love must include fairness and solidarity. This implies that environmental protection should consider the rights and responsibilities of all people. For instance, environmental policies should not be designed to benefit only the wealthy or specific regions but must be structured so that all social strata and regions can benefit equitably. The teachings of 1 John highlight the importance of fairness and solidarity, suggesting that environmental protection should focus on restoring the relationship between humans and nature rather than purely technical solutions. Therefore, governments and businesses should consider social fairness and the participation of all strata when designing environmental policies, aligning with the wisdom of 1 John. Proposals for realistic and specific environmental protection policies. To address environmental pollution, it is necessary not only to raise awareness but also to implement specific policies and practical actions. Drawing on the wisdom of Deuteronomy and 1 John, modern society should establish environmental protection policies that involve collaboration between the government, businesses, and individuals. These policies should focus on maintaining harmony between nature and humanity and should be designed in a way that allows participation from all social strata. First, the government must implement strong regulatory policies for environmental protection. The teachings of Deuteronomy emphasize accountability for actions, suggesting that the government can strengthen the responsibility of businesses and individuals by establishing clear regulations on environmental pollution. The government should create institutional mechanisms to reduce fine dust emissions, strengthen regulations on factory gas emissions to improve air quality, and take legal actions to reduce plastic usage and expand policies to limit the use of disposable products. These regulations are not merely about economic losses but are essential measures for achieving sustainable development for future generations. Second, businesses must adopt responsible management practices for environmental protection. The wisdom of 1 John emphasizes actions to help neighbors and reminds businesses of their responsibility to protect society and nature. Therefore, businesses should adopt environmentally friendly production methods and transition their operations to utilize renewable energy. For example, large corporations can expand the use of renewable energy to reduce carbon emissions and shift production to eco-friendly products. Such changes are not merely responses to regulations but also contribute to fulfilling the social responsibilities of businesses. Third, individuals must practice environmental protection in their daily lives. Deuteronomy emphasizes that individual actions impact the community, meaning individuals should choose sustainable lifestyles by considering their consumption patterns, energy usage, and waste management. For example, reducing the use of disposable products, using public transportation, and rigorously practicing waste segregation are small actions individuals can contribute to environmental protection. While these changes may be limited in individual efforts, if implemented broadly across society, they can significantly support sustainable environmental protection. Fourth, cooperation at the community level is necessary. The teachings of 1 John emphasize the need for solidarity with neighbors, reminding communities that collective participation in environmental protection is essential. Therefore, civic groups, non-profit organizations, and volunteers should collaborate to conduct environmental cleanup activities. For example, riverbank cleaning activities in urban areas or recycling programs in local communities can succeed through the participation of the entire community. These efforts not only protect the environment but also strengthen the bonds among community members. Fifth, awareness improvement through education is necessary. The wisdom of Deuteronomy and 1 John emphasizes the importance of maintaining harmony between nature and humanity, suggesting that awareness improvement through education is essential. Educational institutions should systematically teach environmental protection knowledge and encourage students to practice sustainable lifestyles. Additionally, the government and local authorities should clearly communicate environmental policies to the public and work to improve citizen awareness to promote active participation in environmental protection. Lastly, international cooperation is important. Environmental pollution is a cross-border issue, and society also requires international collaboration. The wisdom of Deuteronomy highlights the necessity of community solidarity, which includes international cooperation. Therefore, should actively participate in global environmental policies and collaborate with other countries to design a sustainable future collectively. Comprehensive solutions and practical strategies.